turbulent period. Today's story is about Kim-Koo, the Gandhi of Korea. He is similar to Gandhi in that he sought to unite a nation on the verge of splitting into two. The story of him, who dedicated his entire life to his country, begins now. Kim-Koo was born on August 29, 1876, in Jichunri, Taedonggang, Gwanghai-namdo, named Kim Chong-am. Having grown to over 180 centimeters tall, he was so large that his mother's life was nearly endangered. When his friends teased him about the pockmarks he had from smallpox, he came out holding a kitchen knife and threatened his friends. And he caused many problems, such as stealing his father's money to buy rice cakes. Fortunately, he matured. It was because his father was beaten for wearing a nobleman's hat at his cousin's wedding. He resolved to study hard and improve his social status. However, his family was aristocrat. His ancestors leaked state secrets to China's Qing Empire. It is said that almost all of his relatives were executed, and only Kim-Koo's direct ancestors lived disguised as commoners. A few years later, he went to take the exam, but became disappointed by the corruption in the country and gave up. He began learning feng shui and physiognomy on his father's recommendation, but he found nothing good about his own physiognomy and quit his studies after hearing the saying, "A good physiognomy is inferior to a good body, and a good body is inferior to a good mind." After that, at the age of 18, he participated in the Donghak peasant movement and changed his name to Kim Chong-se. He was a general of the peasant army, but due to the division of the peasant army, he was attacked by other peasants and fled. At this time, An Tae-hoon, the father of independence activist An Young-gun and a government soldier, protected him. And later, An Young-gun assassinated Japanese resident General Ito Hirobumi. In 1896, while interviewing, he discovered that the person sitting next to him was a Japanese soldier, and he killed him while the war was being. However, the Japanese side distorted the facts, claiming that he was a merchant, not a soldier. Kim-Koo stated that this was revenge for Queen Myeongseong, whom Japan had killed. However, the Japanese side distorted the incident, claiming that the deceased was a merchant rather than a soldier, and sentenced him to death. Fortunately, just before his execution, he was spared thanks to a phone call from Gejong, the emperor of the Korean Empire. He escaped after serving 2 years in prison. At that time, he was given the name Gu, meaning turtle, and used the name Kim-Koo later. When he was re-imprisoned, he changed his name to Kim-Koo, meaning knight. He worked as a teacher teaching Korean nationalism until 1905. He participated in a demonstration when the unequal Yulsa Treaty between Joseon and Japan was signed in 1905. In 1906, he joined the Shinmin-ho, an anti-Japanese movement organization. He became the representative of the Hwanghae-do branch. In 1909, he was identified as the mastermind behind An Young-gun's assassination of Ito Hirobumi. Fortunately, he was released due to insufficient evidence. In December 1910, he was arrested and sentenced to 15 years in prison for his involvement in the Anhak incident, a case of suppression against the Shinmin-ho. During this time, he also met General Kim Chua-jin, a key figure in the Battle of Cheongsanri. He was transferred in 1914 and paroled in 1915. Then, in 1919, the March 1st movement, which changed his life, took place. At this time, he went over to the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea in Shanghai, became the director of the Internal Affairs Bureau, and later became the director of the Police Bureau upon the recommendation of Eun Chong-ho. In 1922, as the Provisional Government's main theory of independence, diplomatic independence, failed and the cabinet resigned in Marseille, he dissolved the cabinet in 1923 due to conflicts among other politicians. In 1924, he became acting Prime Minister but stepped down and was dismissed from his position as Minister of Home Affairs. Meanwhile, the Provisional Government was busy with the impeachment of President Syngman Rhee. Kim-Koo founded the Korean Independence Party, the first ruling party, in January 1930. A year later, he organized the Korean Patriotic Cause, an assassination group composed of Lee Bong-chung, Yun Bong-gil, and others. Around this time, Chiang Kai-shek's Chinese Nationalist Party supported them. As China continued to be pushed back in the Sino-Japanese War, the Korean Provisional Government withdrew to Chongqing in 1940 with the Chinese Nationalist Government. At this time, Chairman Yi Dong-nan passed away. and he became the chairman in his place. In September of that year, the provisional government established the Korean Liberation Army. In 1941, he co-opted the Communist Party, integrated the provisional government, and formally declared war on Japan. In 1944, he succeeded in being re-elected and attempted to carry out the Seoul Offensive, but it failed. The reason was that Japan surrendered 3 days before the operation was executed due to the US atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. He clashed with US troops during the trusteeship period. For example, US military governor John Reed Hodge threatened Kim-Koo, saying he would kill him if he deceived him again. But Kim-Koo stated that he would rather choose death. He thought that the country was in danger of being divided into after independence. So, despite being a staunch anti-communist, he met with North Korean leader Kim Il-sung to discuss unification. However, the talks failed, and he lamented the fact that Kim Il-sung had no intention of peaceful unification from the beginning and had accepted the talks for propaganda purposes. He, who had dedicated his entire life to serving the country, passed away on June 29, 1949, after being assassinated by An Do-hee, a CIC intelligence agent and South Korean soldier. South Korea's first president, Syngman Rhee, or the US military are pointed to as the masterminds, but nothing has been definitively proven. This concludes this episode of the life of Kim-Koo, the leader of the Korean people and the Gandhi of Korea. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and like Turbulent Period.